My name is Alonzo Overby. I'm an employee here at Virginia Blood Services. I have been employed here for 8 years. I am a blood donor and pride myself on being actually a platelet donor. It's something I don't think I didn't really fully understand when I started. Having been here for the time that I have been and understanding the need for blood, I was privileged to meet a young girl who actually had to have blood donations on a pretty regular basis. She had sickle cell anemia, and it really hit home to know that the donations that I was making, because of my blood type, because of the antigens in my blood, it really hit home to know that she was receiving these, and this was a way that I could directly come in contact with someone who's actually receiving these products.
Sherry Kimbrell, wife to Trent Kimbrell. And April 7th of last year, he was in a tragic accident. I received a phone call about 5 p.m. while I was cooking dinner at home, and he was being airlifted to MCV Hospital. I didn't know exactly what had happened until I'd gotten there, and himself, along with 3 other employees, were in a major explosion. Trent, my husband, is a survivor, along with Jeremy and along with Lon, all young fathers. My husband suffered 2nd and 3rd degree burns over 50% of his body, and the other 2 gentlemen, one was 90+% and one was 65. One gentleman's still there today in intensive care, and it's been almost a year, and they've received multiple blood units. I believe an estimation would be close to, if not exceeding 200 blood units. So it's a pretty big deal to have a lot of donors in the area and to get the word out there, because someone like myself, just an average mother cooking dinner on a normal, nice day while the kids are playing outside, and you get a phone call that changes your life forever. You never think that's going to happen to you, and then it happens. And you realize it's a dire need to give blood, and there's so many people out there that can give, and it doesn't take a lot of time. The process is simple and easy. And if we can spread the word, we can get some more donors.
I'm Patty Krzyzewski.
I'm Lainey Krzyzewski.
I came in today because I'm a regular donor, and I do a special event every year, my blood birthday party, and so I've just gotten to know the people here at Virginia Blood a little better than most donors, I guess, and I came to help other donors see the fun of donating.
It's not hectic or stressful in any way. It's a relaxing experience. You're not bombarded with needles. You go and you sit in a waiting room for a bit, and then you answer easy questions, you sit in a chair, you eat snacks, and then you're on your way. It can be a break. It can be, something you can do to take time away from your busy life. It doesn't have to be an added stress.
My name is Eva Petrosino. About 5 years ago, I was diagnosed with stage 4 non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. It was in my stomach, in my chest, and in my throat. I had 3 large tumors. When I started treatment, I started chemotherapy in, I think it was November of 2006. In between my treatment, I would have low immunity and low white blood count cells and stuff like that. So I had infections and hospital stays, and sometimes my red counts were down, and sometimes my platelets were down, and so I became a recipient of blood products that were actually from Virginia Blood Services.
Luckily I got past all of it, and now I'm 7 months pregnant, and this wouldn't have happened had I not gotten those blood products when I did.
Well, my name is John Jacoby, and I guess about 5 or 10 years ago, one of my coworkers' daughters came down with cancer. And that's when I began doing automated blood donation, the plasma and platelets and so forth. You can save 3 lives by giving 30 minutes of your time and a pint of blood or apheresis or plasma or whatever the case may be at the time. How could you not do that? What would be your rationale for not doing it?
My name is Sophia Sam. January 18th, I was on hospital bed rest, and I had a high-risk pregnancy, so I had ultrasounds pretty often, and one of the ultrasounds showed, they thought they saw bleeding in her brain, and so they did an emergency C-section, and I think she was out like an hour later, and she looked really good and healthy, and we thought everything was okay, and they took her to the NICU, which we didn't think was unusual because she was born premature at 34 weeks. And then a little while later, the neonatologist comes into the room where I'm recovering, and she tells us that Charlotte suffered pretty severe brain bleeds. We didn't know what her future was, and I think one of the first questions I asked the doctor was like, are you saying that she might not live? Are you saying that this is fatal? And they told me it can be. I have a disease called NATE, which stands for neonatal alloimmune thrombocytopenia. Basically, it's a rare blood disorder where my blood and my husband's blood are incompatible. I am just allergic to it, I guess, is the way to explain it. But when I'm pregnant, since my baby is half of my husband's blood, my body treats the baby like an infection and produces these antibodies like an autoimmune response to the baby, and reject the foreign body, and so it ended up attacking her platelets, so that she was only born with 3K platelets, and the normal platelet count is 150 to 400,000 platelets, and so she had hardly any. And platelets cause your blood to clot, and when you don't have enough platelets, there's nothing to stop the bleeding. And with babies, their blood vessels are so fragile, sometimes they just burst, and that's a normal thing, but usually platelets stop that, and because she didn't have platelets, there was nothing to stop the bleeding in her brain, so they had to give her platelet transfusions. I wanted to give her my blood and my platelets, and I couldn't. But someone out there had healthy platelets for her, and that's why she's here.